Sections 2, 3, 2, 4, and 2, 5 have been combined into a single section in the course pack for the reason that all three sections deal with operations on real numbers. Operations on real numbers are topics that you are expected to be previously competent with. And just for a few examples of what we're talking about, these 6 problems right here are something that would be found as a typical problem in one of those sections, an operation on a real number involving addition, subtraction, multiplication, or division. Real numbers being the signed numbers, the numbers that are positive and negative integers or fractions. So let's just go through these real quick. Again, as a quick review, if I'm going to add two negative numbers, -7 and -4, the result is going to be their sum, -11. I'm going to add one positive number and one negative number. I'm going to take the difference of those two numbers, which is 5, and then the sign is going to be the sign of the larger number. 94 is positive, so my 5 is positive. Okay. If I have one positive and one negative number, we'll remember that if I have a double negative in the middle of a subtraction problem, remember that that creates an addition. Two negatives create a positive. So this is really -2/5 plus 7/10. Now I can't add those two numbers without a common denominator. So we'll take our -2/5 and we'll need to multiply both top and bottom of that fraction by 2 to turn the denominator into the LCD, which is 10. Okay, so what we'll have right here is -4/10 plus 7/10. Now you can see that I have one negative number and one positive number, so I'll subtract those to get 3/10, and again, positive 3/10 because the larger of these two values was a positive value. Alright, keep going. Two negatives, whether you're adding them or it's a negative minus another value. Two negatives are going to be added together, and you're going to keep the negative signs. This is -10. Now we've got a couple multiplication division problems. Multiplication, if there is a single negative, the answer will also be negative. And then just multiply like normal. So 2 goes into 4 twice, 2 goes into 2 once, 3 goes into 3 once, 3 goes into 9 3 times. So I come out with a -2/3. Don't forget the negative. One negative in a multiplication problem means negative. Two negatives in a multiplication or division problem means positive. So -12 divided by -2 will be +6. So again, that was just a real quick review. If you would like to see more on any of those topics, addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, please check out those sections in the text. Alright, the remainder of section 2.5 dealt with ratios and percentages. A ratio is the ratio of a number A to B is written as, it could be written as A to B, it could be written as A to B, so I can write it with a colon with the word to, or most commonly it's seen written as a fraction, the ratio A to B. Okay, so I'm just going to circle this one and say that this is our preferred way, our most common way, because if I write it as a fraction, all of the regular rules for fractions apply. So in example 1, suppose there are 8 women and 4 men on a softball team. Write the ratio of women to men in lowest terms. So women to men will have 8 to 4, and in lowest terms this would be the ratio 2 to 1, and again that's dividing both of them by 4. So the ratio 2 to 1 or 2. Okay, now this is a ratio with proper units, so we need to write 2 women, 2 men, assuming that, and I don't write a 1 in front of the number of men right here, that's because there happens to be a 1 right here. If it was, for example, the fraction 2/3, I could write 2 women to 3 men. Okay. A unit ratio is a ratio whose denominator is 1. Just like this one right here turned out to be a unit ratio. In example 2, a person has a credit card balance of -$3,580. $80 on a Discover card and negative $1,590 on their MasterCard. Want to find the unit ratio. Okay, so the ratio would be negative 3,580 to negative 1,590. Now if I want to find the unit ratio, I must divide both of these values by 1,590 so that I can get the denominator to be 1. So I need to divide 3,580 by 1,590. With two negatives, that's going to give me a positive, and it does give me the decimal value about 2.2516. Okay, so the units on this would be 2.2516, or to round that to the nearest penny, $2.25 on Discover per $1 on MasterCard. If a person wants to gradually pay off both accounts in the same amount of time, explain how the result from Part A can help you do this. So for every dollar you pay on MasterCard, you need to pay $2.25 to Discover card. Let's go to the next page. Example 3. The median sales price of existing homes and the median incomes in 2001 are shown in the table below for 4 regions in the United States. Alright, so what I want to do in Part A is find the unit ratio of the sales price of an existing home in the Northeast to the income in the Northeast. So sales price to income, so I'm going to start with sales price. The sales price in the Northeast, we're looking at these numbers right here. Sales price in the Northeast is $146,500 over the income, which is $57,000. Again, I want this to be a unit ratio, so I want to divide both numbers by, or just actually finish the division. If I need the denominator to be 1, I want to divide by 57,000. So we get 2.570. And what does this result mean? This means that a person has to spend about $2.57 on a home for every $1 of income. Let's look at Part B. A person believes that existing homes in the South are more affordable than in the Northeast because the median price of existing homes is lower in the South than the Northeast. What would you tell that person? Let's check out the values for the South. Okay. In the South, the ratio would be 137,400 divided by 46,688. Let's go ahead and do the division there to get that unit ratio. So if you do that division, you get 2.94. So this means that it's going to cost $2.94 for a home for every $1 of income. Now if we compare the two quantities right here, $2.57 for a home for every $1 of income to $2.94 per home for every $1 of income, we can see that this quantity for the South is more expensive. It's more expensive not in terms of the actual price of the home, because the actual price of the home was more in the North, but it is more expensive based on the income of the average person in the South. Alright, percents. Percent means per 100. So a percent is A divided by 100. Therefore, a percent is a ratio. If 57 of 100 CDs are blank, then we would say 57% of CDs are blank. Okay, let's look at converting percents from decimals. To write 8% as a decimal, we'll move the decimal place 2 spots to the left, so it'll be 0.08 to the decimal number. And to write the decimal 0.145 as a percent, we'll move 2 spots to the right, so that will be 14.5%. In math, the word of means, we saw this in the previous section, means multiply. So to find a percentage of a quantity, we're going to, again, multiply. the decimal form of the percent, and the quantity. Find 5% of 80 students. 5% with the decimal 0.05 times 80 students will give us 4 students. Find 6.3% of 2,000. 0.063 is the decimal for 6.3% of times 2,000. Let's multiply those together and we get $126.